Free speech is a lot of things, but free isn't one of them, and it's getting more elusive every day. And with President Musk and the First Lady attacking anyone who disagrees, threatening them with jail, even pencil dicks like J.D. Vance are saying, I don't think you can do that. But Trump and his buddies at Fox News want to arrest people fighting for the rights of America's undocumented workers and standing up to this guy, who every time he talks sounds drunker than before. But there's one American standing up to Musk, Trump, and this guy. I'll tell you who it is in a second, but first, a reminder to please subscribe to our channel. It doesn't cost a dime, and it's easier than predicting Pete Hegseth's blood alcohol content. Before we get to this grunt muscle, let's point out that Elon Musk is now threatening judges, and he wants 60 Minutes to be prosecuted for daring to question his mismanagement of Doge. 60 Minutes are the biggest liars in the world. They engaged in deliberate deception to interfere with the last election. They deserve a long prison sentence. That's an interesting take, Elon, since your girlfriend is a convicted felon who stole secret government documents and tried to overthrow a legitimate election loss. But back to Homan, who still sounds drunk.
But, Tom, you got AOC out there, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Congresswoman, putting out a webinar, doing a webinar to help illegals avoid, I guess, apprehension, giving tips about how to continue to remain in the country and ultimately game the system.
And I sent an email today to the Deputy Attorney General. At what level is that impediment? Is that impediment? I'm not an attorney. I'm not a prosecutor. Is that impediment? Is that impeding our law enforcement efforts? If so, what are we going to do about it? Is she crossing the line? So I'm working with the Department of Justice and finding out where is that line that they cross. So maybe AOC is going to be in trouble now, but I need the AOG to opine on that, because there's impediment is impediment in my opinion. I'm not a prosecutor, but we need some further guidance on that. But again, if we have to take every federal dollar out of the city, we'll do it. I mean, we're done.
All right, a couple points here. Homan is ignoring the facts, and those facts are this. 1, undocumented people commit 12% of the crimes that Americans do and 5% of the violent crimes. So why isn't his lard ass out arresting oath keepers or white supremacists who openly speak of violent acts? And secondly, ICE can't stop brown people and ask for their papers. This isn't Germany in the 1930s. Arizona tried that, and the Supreme Court said, sorry, Charlie, but that's a problem with MAGA. They think they have some right that supersedes the Bill of Rights.
So those facilities that were at great taxpayer expense to welcome people, fly them to the city of their choice, give them a free hotel room at taxpayer expense, 3 meals a day, free medical attention, those days are over. We're going to detain, we end catch and release, and we're going to hold people to remove, not to release.
Lastly, I heard you talking about AOC over the weekend. Do you believe she is breaking the law?
I'll leave that up to DOJ. What I find disturbing is that any member of Congress wants to educate people how they evade law enforcement. You can claim you're educating those constitutional rights. Okay, you can keep that claim. But what she in fact is doing is telling people don't open your door, hide in your home, don't talk to ICE. We're talking about people who are in the country legally, committed a crime, they're a public safety threat, they've been convicted of serious crime, and they've been ordered removed by a federal judge. So it's like AOC and others don't want ICE to enforce the laws that they enacted. She's a member of Congress. Let us enforce the laws you enacted. That's what we're supposed to do.
You can't go after her. Do you think others should?
No, I think I've asked DOJ, where is that line of impediment, of interference? Now, if someone stands in your way, prevents you from arresting somebody, put your hands on it, that's impediment. But what line is telling people to hide from ICE, not open the door? Where do you cross that line on impediment? So I've simply asked the Department of Justice, give us that line.
You have talked to them about this. That's what you're saying?
Absolutely.
That dude is an angry drunk, but AOC is doing what any lawyer would do. And Homan and MAGA, they want to arrest people who were born here, and they want to hold them until the Supreme Court, if they do, hears a case on the 14th Amendment, which of course means that both Musk and Ramaswamy would have to leave. But what I love to see is AOC standing up to this dotard, fat and drunk on power.
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father from his
Homan,
family.
with all due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
Probably not the right thing to say.
This continuation of lies about immigrants is everywhere, and for a former cop, this portly f***wickle should know the law.
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
But the real problem here is Trump's lies, which jacked up all these waterheads and made them believe that violence in America is due to immigrants. Of course, it's a lie, but a dangerous one.
What would solve the whole thing in the border if they would just start shooting? Only shoot a couple and they would go home.
You think deterrence would work?
If they would shoot.
And this is what we're dealing with. AOC has every right in the world to speak to undocumented immigrants and give them advice. And the irony here is what Trump is doing will hurt this economy even more as tariffs and inflation present real economic concerns that you can't blame on Biden.
Stop immigration and force migrants to leave in terms of wages.
Unless you're Hamilton, I'm kind of against it.
Isn't that going to be inflationary? Of course.
But here's the level of ignorance displayed by who else? Fox when it comes to the need for more workers.
And we essentially don't need 20 million more unskilled workers. The whole world is becoming mechanized, robotics, AI.
Boy, that is a big point. I mean, when you look at the technological, and now next you've got quantum computers coming.
Exactly.
I mean, it is mind-boggling bringing unskilled workers into the fold here. They'll be on the dole for the rest of their lives.
Right there, a Bimbo Express train rolled right off the tracks. They seem to think that robotic technology will put undocumented people on the dole for government money, which, by the way, they're unable to get anyway.
How much do you think undocumented immigrants pay into the tax system every year?
Zero?
Nothing.
Probably nothing. Undocumented, I would guess zero. And why would they pay anything?
My guess is nothing.
Since they're undocumented, $0.
$100. $100. 2022, they paid $96 billion into Social Security and Medicare, just undocumented.
I really don't know what to say about it.
I'm not kidding. No. I'm dead serious about that. $96 billion. You feel free to do your own research on that. They pay heavily into the system. They are propping up our Medicare system. They're propping up our Social Security system. And my concern is if they were to disappear tomorrow, what would happen to our Social Security system? Would it be insolvent in 2 to 3 years? What would happen to our Medicare system? Would it be insolvent in a few years? What would happen agriculturally? They're 49% of the workforce, agricultural workforce, things like that.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, but it seems ludicrous that there would be that kind of money coming in.
You are 100% right. Given everything we've heard, it sounds absurd. It sounds insane, and it sounds just like an alternate reality, right? It runs counter to the entire narrative that we've been getting the past several years.
Bottom line, AOC is not just standing up for these undocumented workers, but for the next generation of children born here who, unlike these whiny little bitches, will work hard and truly make us great again.
Damn right.
I'm as mad as hell.
That's a good one. Whether the women like it or not.
Well, he is a dick.
Suck my fat one.
And this guy's personal life is a total disaster.
Trust me.
Shut the fuck up, Darren.
Who's with me?
Oh, yeah, the lie.
Indictable.
Out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm allowing this freak show to continue.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
Yes.
Tick-tock.
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.